Enunciationes classis Latina, capitulum tertium, Puer Improbus. Opening prayer. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum. Benedicta tu in mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus. Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Amen. So what we're going to do is review a bunch of stuff out of chapter 3 because we kind of chopped it up a bit between the holiday and between the holiday and my illness and etc. So oh, hold on, gotta get the right slide. That's from last time. Here it is. So, verbs. We see our first action verbs in this chapter. Cantat, pulsat, plorat, ridet, and audit. I need to underline that. And the first thing you will see, now these are all third person. He, she, it sings, he, she, it hits, he, she, it cries, he, she, it laughs, and he, she, it hears. They all end in T, okay? Third person singular. They're all present tense, okay? So when you say cantat, you're saying he, she, it sings. You could also translate it as he, she, it is singing. There's no distinction in Latin between sings and is singing. Both mean the same. And the good news is you're going to see that the verb endings, the last couple of consonants, are constant over the various verb forms. And we've already seen this. We have est, which ends in T, and sunt, which ends in NT, which is, Britannia est insula, singular. And then Tusculum et Roma sunt something. I'm blanking on that. That's terrible. I know. Tusculum et Roma in Italia est. There we go. There we go. So you're going to see, now we don't have these in this chapter. We only have the singulars, but you're going to see that NT, 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 NT. And so you're going to see that the pattern changes, okay? And right now, all third person indicative, and what I mean is indicative means it's a statement, end in T or NT. So it's gonna be real easy to spot a third person verb. And what we saw, let's see here, where'd it go? Yeah, there we go. So Julia cantat, Marcus Juliam pulsat, Basically, Marcus hits Julia, which is not a nice thing to do. Let's see here. So there are 4 classes of verbs called conjugations. For the nouns, we call them declensions, but for the verbs, they're called conjugations. And all 4 have the same T or NT ending for the third person. And we're going to see that's that's true no matter which tense we're using, but right now we're strictly in the present tense. And there are 4: conjugatio prima, secunda, tertia, et quarta. First, second, and third, and fourth conjugation. So we have the first, we have conjugat, conjugatio prima et conjugatio secunda and conjugatio quarta in this chapter. So we had cantat, pulsat, plorat. Oop, there we go. Let's see. Hold on. You guys hearing me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yes.
How
Robert, if you
about
hold if the space bar is being held down, like if his book is leaning on it, that can mute his audio.
Michael?
Yes.
How about verbarat?
Oh yeah. No, I didn't list them all in there.
Yeah. Okay.
I just wanted to give you some examples. Then
Okay.
the second and the key here is they all have the A. Okay. They're known as ARE verbs. That's the infinitive, and we haven't had infinitives yet, but the important thing is notice that A is across the board. Conjugatio secunda is an ERE verb, and it's a long E. So we have ridet, videt in particular. And I'm going to skip the third. We'll get to it. And conjugatio quarta has an IRE, venit, veniunt. This one's a little weird in the plural, but the important thing is to keep in mind that let's see, let's skip to the end here. Whoops, where is it? Oh, I thought we had more than that. We only have venit. Oh, well, that's right. We have audit and venit. He comes, he, she, it hears. So there you go. So right now, you don't need to be too concerned about conjugations. They're keeping it simple. They're letting you to kind of dip your toe in the in the verb forms. But later on, this will become much more important. So um, eventually, we're going to make some nice tables, but for now, we just have third person present. So I'm not going to do a lot of tables. And as I said, note the vowel before the ending. That'll help you later on when we conjugate the other verb forms. It's like the nouns ending in A, US, or UM. We'll tell you how to decline them. Well, that vowel is going to tell you how to conjugate the verb. So pay attention to them to make things easier in the future. Any question on verbs? Verbs going once? Verbs going twice? Nomina, nouns. Okay. We had the nominativus, which is the subject. Pluvius, Roma, Italia, Europa, Insula, oppidum. That was the word I was trying to remember. Oppidum. Genitive, genitivus, or possessive. And we had the ablativus. So in Italia, in Europa, in Egitto, in Oppido. Oppidum is town, but if you're in town, then you are in Oppido, as we use the what is the word for late? Oh wow, I'm blanking. Late. I'm afraid I'm still a little foggy from the um, flu and um, yeah, flu and bronchitis I had. Let's see, late, late. I have to think about that. That was Well, there's shadow, but that's not quite what I'm thinking of. Um, Actually, we haven't had late, have we? No, you haven't had late in the vocabulary yet. Well, tardus, yeah, actually, um, yes, I know. Anyway, Tardus is not quite, yeah. Teresa suggested Tardus, but Tardus is um, really means it's slow, not swift. It also tends to mean meandering a bit. Yes, Doctor Who has a TARDIS with an IS. Okay. And what, well, actually, that doesn't mean anything because in Latin it's a US. But it, yeah, it kind of means wandering. It can mean late, but that's, I mean, in English we use tardy, but that doesn't quite work in Latin. But anyway, the new one is the accusativus, the direct object, and we see them in, we see them up here. Marcus Juliam pulsat. I'll come up with a way to say that. Julium, okay, so Marcus Julium pulsat. So we have the subject, we have the verb, and we have what's known as the direct object. The direct object is merely the thing that is receiving the action, okay? And the nice thing about that is now we can have our verbs actually do something. As I said, the subject is the doer, casus nominativus. The direct object, that's the doee, or whom or what. Whoops. That should be a what. The action is done on, okay, if any. We only have masculine and feminine forms in this chapter. And the good news is they always end in M. So Marcus pulsat, Marcus hits. Marcus Juliam pulsat, Marcus hits. Yeah, Sero is probably the best word I can think of for late. Marcus Juliam pulsat, Marcus hits Julia. Marcus videt, Marcus sees. Marcus videt quintum, Marcus sees Quintus. Again, um ending. Julia vocat. Emiliam, whoa. That should not end in A or M. Come on, there we go. Emiliam Julia vocat. Now, notice that is the accusative form. This does not mean that Amelia calls Julia. You can put those three words in any order you want, and they all mean Julia calls Amelia. Any questions on that? Because Latin word order is flexible. Yes. Or receiving the call, so to speak. Yeah, either way. Any questions? And you will see these are can be seriously out of order. As I mentioned before, Latin word order is very fluid, but you are emphasizing the words that occur early in the sentence. So Julia Emiliam, Julia, Emiliam vocat would be the normal word order. Julia is calling Amelia. But if you put Emiliam, let me get rid of that white there so you can see it better. But Emiliam Julia vocat really means Julia is calling Amelia. You know, we have to kind of, in English, we can't fiddle with the word order. So we have to kind of do it by intonation. But here you're emphasizing who Julia is calling. And we'll get into that more. But for now, just keep in mind that it can occur in any order. And in fact, let's see here.
Michael,
Yeah.
that you may have noticed that towards the end of this story, they introduce this interesting construction, going back to the sentence that you just gave
Uh-huh.
about Emiliam vocat um, um, Julia.
Yes.
They introduce this construction where what they will do is say Emilia and then comma quam vocat Julia. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes. And
So,
I'll get to the quem and quam later.
well, the reason why I'm saying that is it's interesting how Amelia is not, even though you have Amelia who's being called there, if you have it in that structure where you have a comma, which is what they do towards the end of this whole story, they introduce that whole business of having a name and then a comma and then having that pronoun.
Yeah.
Right, there you have it right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. And
But
we'll actually we're going to get into the personal pronouns.
well, I'm just saying,
Sorry, the relative pronouns here in a minute.
don't, it's not Marcum, it's Marcus.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
Even though Marcus is receiving the action. That's my point.
not in this case.
Well, no, right. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Here we go. I think well, that's not the right one either. Let's see here. Well, we'll run across. This will make more sense when I get to
Okay.
the pronouns. So let's see, where are we? Anyway, so again, Latin's flexible word order, okay? Because the doer is always the nominative and the doee is always in the accusative. So as I said, you can have Julia vocat Emiliam. Julia is calling Amelia, which is kind of the English word order. Julia Emiliam vocat, which is really sort of the more normal Latin order. Again, means Julia is calling Amelia. Emiliam Julia vocat means Julia is calling Amelia. And you can even go Emiliam vocat Julia, which sounds, if you're not paying attention, you're going to think, oh, Amelia is calling Julia. No, that means Julia is calling Amelia. And you can even put the verb in front. And so you can I think let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I've put these in all the possible orders. At least I think I have. So you really have to pay close attention when you're reading. This is especially true in the liturgy. Lots of pieces in the liturgy are fairly straightforward, but there are some that they intentionally mix up the word order in order to emphasize certain things. And we're not going to cover that today, but just be aware. I mean, we're kind of all on our training wheels today. So pay it, so just pay it close attention. And of course, I got to add that to our table. Um, so accusative, feminine, ends in AM. We're going to get these other ones later, so I'm not going to spend too much time. So insula, insulam, and then just using insula as an example. Declinatio secunda, UM. So that's really easy to keep in mind. Um, and then here's a couple of examples. Fluvius river, so fluvium. Puer, puerum. Virum, oppidum. So the neuter, nominative, and accusative have the exact same form. And we'll fill some of these in later as time goes on. Let's see here. Oh, did I repeat? Oh, wow. I see I repeated myself. Okay. Now here we have same thing. Julius verberat Marcum, Julius Marcum verberat. Again, Julius is the subject. Marcus is on the receiving end of the stick that he's being beaten with. And you see it in the Gloria. Gratias agimus tibi. Literally, thanks we give thee. Okay. You don't say that in English. Well, I don't know. Maybe if you're Yoda, you might say that. It would be we give thee thanks. So you will see the word order adjusted in the liturgy. I think that's the end of that. Yeah. Any questions on the accusative or word order? And please ask questions or I'll think you guys are all asleep.
Michael.
Yeah.
I don't want to beat a dead horse, but if you change the word order there and said Marcus, comma, quem Julius verberat, Marcus is receiving the action,
Right.
not in the accusative.
Thank you. That is a perfect question because you've led me. Well, I think I do the interrogatives first. Okay. Wait till we get to the relatives.
Okay.
Yes.
The example
The short answer, tell you what, let me just throw in a new slide here just because. So you're saying Marcus,
comma,
Julius, pardon me for the lack of
verberat.
verberat. Okay, verberat. Pardon me for the lack of macrons in the typing. What we're going to see is, yeah, here, let's put a comma there. There.
Okay.
Whoops, no, hold on. We need another comma. Let's finish out a sentence, for example. Okay.
Sure.
Marcus, who Julius is beating, is naughty, improbus, or improper, bad, naughty, whatever. That's because this here is a relative pronoun. And in this little phrase, Julius verberat Marcum, right? If we were actually going to put his name in there. Instead, we have what's known as a relative pronoun. And that relative pronoun has to have the same case as it would be in that particular phrase.
Right.
I am going to repeat that again in about 5 slides. So just hang on there. All right, I'm going to get rid of that slide. There. All right. Pronomia interrogativa, or interrogative pronouns. Questions. In English, we say who or what. You know, who is Julius? Who is Marcus? What is Rome? We wouldn't say who is Rome. You'd say what is Rome? So questions that ask who or what are called Oops. There. I did this while I was sick, so I'm definitely gonna have to spell check it before I send it out. The pronoun, because it's called a pronoun because it represents the unknown person or thing, okay? So in Latin, who? We have quis, like quis est Julius, okay? We have plural, we use qui. Qui sunt Marcus et Quintus. Now, you haven't had qui yet, but I'm going to throw it in there just because it'll help you later on. Feminine. Person. Que. Que est Emilia? Who is Emilia? Emilia est mater Marci Quinti et Juliae. Emilia is the mother of Marcus, Quintus, and Julia. Pluralis. Que sunt Emilia et Julia? Who are Emilia and Julia? So for masculine or feminine, we will use quis for singular for masculine and que for feminine. Now, you will use quis. You can use quis if the person's is unknown, okay? But if it is decidedly feminine, then you will default to que. For right now, you're going to see quis for masculine and que for feminine in the Emilia. Now we have neuter. Okay. How many people are neuter? None. You may be neutered, but you're still not neuter. Okay. So for that, we use quid.
Thank you.
Quid est Britannia? What is Britain? Okay. And plural is que. Again, you haven't had it, but I'm just going to throw it in here because later on I want to show you the entire tables, and you'll see why in a minute. So any questions on that? So basically, using quis for who, and que for who, and quid for what? Yes. Okay. Wait, did I just hold on here? Where did I put it? Oh. What are called? Oh, that's right. Now, questions that ask who or what, I said, are interrogative pronouns. Now, who or what are subjects of the sentence? So he says, who is Julius? In English, we also have whose and whom for genitive and accusative cases. For example, Marcus is whose child? Now, we could say, who is the child of Marcus? Okay, we could say that. But we can also say Marcus is whose child? We can also say, whom does Marcus hit? So interrogative pronouns in English do not all have to be nominative case. They can be nominative, genitive, accusative, and ablative. Okay. Well, Latin has the same thing. This is the entire table, and these are the cases that you've had so far. So if it's nominative, quis est Julius, que est Emilia. Okay. But you can ask other questions like this one. Quis est Julius, Julius pater familiae Romanae. Que est Emilia? Emilia est mater familiae Romanae. Quid est Britannia? Britannia insules. So who is Julius? Who is Emilia? What is Britain? But, pardon? Okay. But we can also, in English, use the genitive. Cujus liber est? Whose book is this? Liber Julii. Ooh, Juli. Sorry about that. That should be an I. There we go. Liber Julii est. It is Julius's book. Okay. So in English, we actually have what would be the genitive or possessive form. Well, in Latin, you use the same thing. Use cujus liber, short I, liber est. Don't want to turn them into children. And if you go back on that table, you see that that is the genitive form for whose, cujus. Cujus filius est Marcus, whose son is Marcus. Marcus filius Julii est. Marcus is the son of Julius. Make sense? I think you've all fallen asleep. Accusativus. Quem Marcus pulsat? Whom does Marcus hit? Now, a lot of people today will drop the whom and said, who does Marcus hit? That is, yes, salve regina, cuius latus perforatum fluxit, aqua, let's see, fluxit aqua, oh boy, cuius latus fluxit aqua et sanguinae, there we go, flows water and blood. Marcus pulsat Julium et Quintum. Quem Julius verberat? Whom does Julius spank? Julius verberat Marcum. So the whom, or I should say the quem, is in the same case, number, and gender as the expected direct object. So since they're in the accusative, in the case of the genitive, it's the same thing. Any questions on that? All right. So now we do have other interrogative adverbs where these are ones we've had in the past. So ubi est Britannia. Where is Britain? Britannia in Europa est. Ubi sunt libri mei. Where is my book? Why? Cur Julius verberat Marcum. Quia Marcum improbus puer est. They do not have gender or case since they're technically adverbs, okay? So you don't have to worry about those. But quis and qui, quis and que you do. So quis, let's see. Qui regnit in, no, actually you need a qui there, and we'll find out. I'm replying to my wife's question. And that is the pronomia relativa. Relative pronouns do not ask a question, but are used to further clarify. Let's see, how about a clarify? Whoops, I can't type today, worth beans. Or further describes the noun. Okay, in English, we use who or which. Our Father who art in heaven. That's not a question, that's a statement. What is it in Latin? Pater noster qui es in celis, okay? Lamb of God who takest away the sins of the world. Again, that's not a question. Agnus Dei qui tollis peccata mundi, okay? So the who is known as a relative pronoun, not an interrogative pronoun, because it's not asking a question, it's making a statement. And for the inanimate, you use which. Yes, exactly, like who, whom, whose, which, and that. The book which belongs to Quintus is missing, which here, I should underline, is the relative pronoun, because you're not asking about the book, you're telling them that the book belongs to Quintus. Latin used words very close to quis and que, namely qui and que. Now, that's going to be exciting The good news is the declination. Declination. Oh boy. Is that the right? No, that's not the right word. Declension, decline.
Declination is astronomy.
I know. I'm trying to think of the right word here. It's not.
Could be declension.
Yeah, but you
The
don't say the
declension,
declension.
yeah.
You don't say the declension. You say the declining. Declining. There we go. That's the word I want. Yeah, the declining of quis and quae is the same as qui and quae. So that's going to make things easier to recall. So what you see here, the good news is the only difference is in the nominative. You would use a qui instead of a quis. So pater noster qui es in celis. And in fact, I'm going to jump down to the next table. I'm going to show you the whole thing. So the interrogatives are quits, quae, quid. The relatives are qui, quae, quad, but all the others are the same. So just try and remember to use quis if you're asking a question, and qui or quad if it is if it's clarifying the noun, like pater noster qui es in celis, our Father who art in heaven. So does that make sense? Any questions?
So the key here is you just remember that there's a difference in the nominative
Right.
between the interrogative pronouns and the relative pronouns, whereas for all the other cases, the words are the same.
Right. They're identical. So whose, whom, and for ablative, I put in a whom. Let's see, I'm trying to think of the ablative in English. Actually, would you use the ablative? Would you use whom or who in English? I'll have to think about that. I'll think about that some more. English doesn't really have an ablative case. All right. So examples. Julia, quae filia Julii et Emiliae cantat. This is where we're going to get to answer your question finally, Alex. Julia cantat. Julia sings, okay? Well, maybe we're in the choir and, you've got 5 little girls singing and you want to distinguish which one Julia is. And we'll say, Julia, who is the daughter of Julius and Amelia, is singing. So, quae, that's back to our table. See, quae. Whoops, yeah. Who? Because who is the daughter? That's nominative case. It's not asking a question. It's saying that Julia, who is the daughter. I'm not sure if there's a better way to explain this. Same thing with Marcus. Marcus, qui filii Julii et Emiliae. Juliam, quae cantat, pulsat et ridet. Okay, now this one, I really made this one to try and wrap your mind, to tie up your minds. Marcus, who is the son of Julius and Amelia, Juliam, which is accusative. So Julia, well, okay. Unfortunately, the English I got to unwrap the English. Marcus, who is the son of Julius and Amelia, hit and laughed at Julia, who is singing.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So again, Juliam, because of pulsat et redet, but quae cantat, because now you've made it the subject.
Mm-hmm.
So now we could do something ridiculous here. Let me do, whoops. Let me do this. We can get rid of the, whoops, cut that out. We can actually get rid of the pronouns. Let's see here.
That certainly looks odd.
There we go. So Marcus, the son of Julius and Amelia, Julia sings, Marcus hit and laughed. So we can substitute the proper noun for the relative pronoun. You don't do that in English, okay? But the point is, this has to agree in gender and number, but the case is whatever it functions as in that clause. Okay. You're going to ask something?
I was asking you to repeat that again.
Okay, so the relative pronoun has to match gender and number of the noun it refers back to.
Right.
But case is how it functions in that clause.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, who is the son of Julius and Amelia? Well, the who, that's really the subject. That's okay. But Juliam, okay, Marcus pulsat et ridet Juliam. So the que has to match Julia because she's female, but this is the subject, que cantat. Okay. Now this one was intentionally somewhat difficult. These other ones are a little easier. Quintus, qui eratus est, Marcum pulsat. So Quintus, who was annoyed, hit Marcus. Julia, que plorat, Julia, who is crying, Emiliam vocat, called Amelia. Marcum, qui improbus est, Julius verberat. Okay, here's another one where Julius verberat Marcum, but we are further refining something about Marcus. So, qui improbus est, the qui is masculine singular, the Marcum is masculine singular, but since the qui is the subject in that clause, then it has to be nominative. Now, you can also do it this way. Marcum, quem Julius verberat, improbus est. So Marcus, whoa, that should be Marcus.
Oh, that should be Marcus.
Should be Marcus. There, see, it's a Marcus.
Yeah.
I deny all knowledge of it ever being Marcum. Marcus, quem Julius verberat, improbus est. So Marcus, improbus est. Marcus is a bad boy, but quem Julius verberat, so masculine singular, but in this clause, it is the direct object.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'd rather not be a direct object in a clause with the word verberat, personally.
Yeah, Michael,
Yeah.
if you look at line, something almost exactly like that construction is line 74. If you can just
Yeah,
turn
no, I saw it. I know it was. Oh, there it is.
Amelia quam Julia
Oh, here it is. Yeah.
vocarorum est.
Yes.
It's the same construction as you just
The
did.
same one. Yes. Amelia, whom Julia calls, is the mother of the children. Note that it is a long I. Liber or liberi is children. Liber is book. So anyway, yep, same thing.
I had a question about the first sentence you had there earlier. Do you need it? Amelia, yeah, Julia quae filia Julii et Emiliae est cantat. Can you have an est there, or is it just understood?
What, this one?
No,
No,
Julia
this
quae
one.
yeah, filia Julii
Ooh,
et
you know
Emilia
what? That
est.
should have been an est. Oh, wait. Hold
No,
on.
et
That was
Emilia
est. Never
est.
mind. That was that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could put an est in there.
Okay.
Yeah, you could put an est in there if you wanted to.
Oh, but it's optional. That's what I was wondering.
Yeah. The
It's
verb
good.
to be is often left out in Latin.
Okay. It's just
Um,
understood.
yeah,
Okay. That's good to know.
but it's certainly not it's not wrong to put it in there by any means. It's just that it will often be left out.
Okay.
I guess the lesson is you have to pay attention to the comma.
Well, now the good news is in the Familia Romana, our intrepid author Hans Orberg does use commas. I will warn you if you
In
have
English
a
text, they don't always use them.
well, no, if you looking at say a 14th or a 13th or a 12th or 11th century manuscript, I'm sorry, there is no punctuation in there. So you have to be very careful. Now, first thing they did is they started putting little periods and little spaces to mark the actual sentences, and that really helped. But one of these days, I'll show you a manuscript. And actually, for that matter, if you go to the Houston Museum of Fine Arts, they have a very nice. Oops, sorry, I haven't been to that one. Excuse me. It was when I was in Dallas. Fort Worth, what's the name of the museum up there? Had a very nice display of Roman statues. And there was an inscription. I'll try and remember to dig it out for next time. But it's basically one one long stream of letters. It's pretty hard to for us because we're used to punctuation, etc. Yeah, I plan to hit up the Houston Museum of Fine Arts for Trajan.
Would that be
Probably.
the Kimball Museum?
Pardon?
You were saying the Fort Worth Museum.
Yeah,
The
Kimball, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah, that was it. Yeah,
That's a great museum.
it is. It was really nice. I was kind of, they had a lot of good stuff that I liked.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but it's one of the most endowed museums in the country.
I can believe it.
Yeah.
I can believe it. Francis, you need to hit up a few of the Houston billionaires. Francis works at the Houston Museum of Fine Arts. That's why I say it. So, let's see. Unfortunately, I don't know any billionaires in Houston, so um, so and most of those statues, a lot of those statues I was able to recognize pretty quickly. So because we've seen versions. Anyway, let's get back to Latin though. Let's see, where are we?
I would like to comment that the Romans, the ancient Romans, and the Greeks for that matter, and the Romans stole a lot of their statues, regularly would do upkeep on their statues. So if an arm fell off, they would they would fix it or change it. People went out of fashion, like you were no longer supposed to talk about Marius. They would cut the head off the statue and put someone else's head on. So
Yeah.
there's actually a very famous statue in that exhibit that has Augustus's head on it, but it had somebody else's before that. And the thing is that
Actually, I think it was the body of Mars, wasn't it? Because it was like he was holding a spear.
Yeah, I think that's right. The thing is that there's a giant dispute among restorers about whether you leave the arm missing off the Venus de
the Venus de Milo,
Venus de Milo with the spear, or whether you stick a new arm on there with a spear or something else. And the Romans and the Greeks thought nothing about repairing these statues and putting new body parts on. They kept them painted. We see them as glorious white or off-white or multicolored marble statues, but they would have been painted.
Yeah, many.
And so there's a lot of dispute among restorers over whether you do this just like the Romans and the Greeks would, or whether you assemble them as you find them and then leave them.
Yeah.
And personally, I like the Roman and the Greek method, but it's important to know when you see an exhibit like this, what kind of restoration would have been done.
Yeah. Yeah, the nice thing about the Kimball exhibit is you could see that the repair, or the, what do I want to say, the swapped body parts.
Oh, they told you.
Yeah, they told you in the exhibit. And often you could kind of tell like the marble wasn't quite the same color.
No, you'd see a slight neckline, like there'd been like some kind of a murder with a cord. But the nice thing about the exhibit was they told you exactly what parts were restored to the way they thought they should be.
Yeah, and they also told you when they were restored.
Oh, yeah.
Because some of them were ancient restorations and some of them were done in the 15th century. So, yeah. So anyway, yes, if you happen to be driving through Fort Worth, stop by. Let's see. When does the exhibition end? I've forgotten now.
I thought it was going through like June, something like that.
Maybe it was. And by the way, they are going to have an exhibit of objects from the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, if I recall correctly, starting in June, July.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Another excuse for me to visit my daughter and son-in-law.
The thing is that this gives a whole new perspective on things like the Pieta, who was damaged by gunfire, automatic gunfire, and then restored. And you begin to understand what the ancients did with these statues. They were so beautiful. Some of them were famous, and they might have been 800 years old, and they didn't want to lose them. So they restored them.
Yep. All right. But getting back to verbs, let's see. I think that's, So Marcus quem Julius verberat improbus est. So Marcus goes with a quem, but the quem is because it is the direct object of verberat. Any questions? Questions going once, twice, thrice? Okay. Pronomia personalia, personal pronouns. Now, we actually pick up some of the useful pronouns in the accusative. So, me is me. Julia me vocat. Julia is calling me. So that's a pretty one. Te is thee. And I will use the second person singular forms to clearly distinguish which is which. So be prepared to see a lot of these, thous, and thys. I do that intentionally so that it sinks in that those pronouns are second person singular, and that makes a big difference when you read scripture. We don't have a good way in English to, well, is Jesus talking to one person? Is he talking, he says, you all blah, 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 or you are something. Let me give you a better example. Well, is he talking to one apostle or is he talking to all of the apostles? If you go to the Latin or the Greek, they distinguish whether it was one or plural. So anyway, Julia te vocat. Julia is calling thee. Now we have eam and eum and id.
Shouldn't that be
Should be
her?
it. There we go.
Eam.
Oh, good grief. Yeah, there we go. As I said, I did these when I was still not altogether there. Thank you, though. So eam is her. Julia. Oh, good grief. I really did mess that up.
Yeah.
There we go. Julia eam vocat. Julia is calling her. Eum, him. Julia eum vocat. Julia is calling him. And then id, we haven't seen that one yet. Julia id vocat. Julia is calling it. We'll pick that one up in the future. Now, technically, these are not pronouns. It's got an unemphatic something. I forgot what the huge name is. For now, since Latin uses them as if they were pronouns, use them as pronouns. Okay, think of them as pronouns. Later on, we will add some more details that'll expand that meaning. But for the moment, you don't really need to worry about it too much.
Michael?
Yes.
So when you say technically they're not pronouns, technically in the English sense or technically in the Latin sense?
In the Latin sense. Well, okay. Let me get the exact name for this here. So I can give you, where'd I put it? I know it's in here someplace. Oh, no, I know where it is. It is in here. No? Where did I put this? Hold on. Okay. Learning. Where is? Sorry. Oh, there it is. I can't read is my problem. All right, let me get the exact. Yes, they're called unemphatic demonstrative pronouns and adjectives. And that's because it means more than just he, she, or it. Let me bring there we go. That word is used in a pronoun sense as we would have in English, but it can also be used as the English demonstrative pronoun, which is this, that, these, and those. So really really means that there girl, and eum, it really means that there dude, okay? Now, so really the Julia eum vocat means Julia is calling that there dude. We don't look at it that way. We look at it as Julia is calling him. Let me close my door. Keep the noise down. So later on, we'll see uses where we include that entire notion of a demonstrative pronoun. But right now, a demonstrative means pointing out, by the way, if you don't know what one is. So, but for right now, we'll pretend they're plain pronouns. Okay.
Michael,
Yes.
on page 308 of our book,
Oh, wow. Okay.
well, I was just going to say it bears out what you just said.
Oh, right.
It lists the pronomina personalia, and nominative, accusative, dative, ablative, singular, and plural, and am and aum, am, and it are not in there.
Yeah, they're not in there. Me and te are real. Those are genuine pronouns.
Right.
We'll learn the other forms in the future. Ego, for example, is I. Tu is you.
TB.
Plural would be nos, us, or we, and vos, y'all. So yeah, those are actually pronouns, but this is as I said, it's something else. Right now, they're going to function as a pronoun. So if you want to think of it as a pronoun, great.
Yeah, I'm seeing it translated as that one.
Yes.
Sounds weird in English, but I guess it makes sense after a while.
No, it still sounds weird and well, if I would use the demonstrative form, it would sound weird, right? So later on, you'll see where the demonstrative form actually makes sense. But that's in the future.
So just like these or those
Yeah, these are
in
those,
English.
or that one, or this one, or
It's weird.
yeah, you'll see examples of that. But for now, you know, like in the Gloria, we have adoramus te, glorificamus te. We pray, we adore you, we pray, or we glorify you. So, and you will see these in the liturgy. But for now, pretend they're pronouns. Any questions on that? Me, te, am, eum, and id. No? All right, one other thing we have. Quia, because or since. Julius eum non audit. Julius does not hear him. Quia dormit, because he is sleeping. Julia plorat. Quia Marcus eum pulsat. And quia just starts a clause that explains or clarifies an action. So you could use because, you could use since. Actually, let me look. I want to look at my Latin dictionary for just a second because it will give all the thousands of meanings of quia. Yes. Yeah, basically it says that, oh my, well, you don't want to see all what it means, but it's it clarifies it. So because, since is a good translation for it. And we have seen it in the let's see here. Where did it go? QUIA. Whoops. QUIA. There we go. Julia plorat quia Marcus eam pulsat. Julia is crying because Marcus hit her. Cura Marcus Juliam pulsat, quia Julia cantat, because Julia is singing. Sorry, no past tense yet. We get the past tense later. Let's see where else.
On 67.
Let's see here. Yeah, there it is. Okay, here we go. Marcus plorat. That's why I said you don't want to be a direct object of the verb verberat. Just trust me. Marcus plorat, quintus laetus est et ridet. Julia laeta non est, nequa ridet. Julia is not happy and she is not laughing. Cur non leta est quia Marcus plorat, Julia est puella proba. See, she is not rejoicing in the misfortunes of her oldest brother, even though he did deserve a parental correction, shall we say.
Michael,
Yes,
is tux tox, is that supposed to be the sound
that
of
is the sound. Okay, that is not a verb.
okay.
Okay, we have, okay, animal sounds are is the best example. What does a dog say? Woof. Well, Latin had a word for it. I don't remember what it was. In fact, they had a whole bunch of words for the various animals, just like we do. So they have certain uh, words that it sounded like uh, um, the Latin word sounded like what the uh, um,
What you heard, I
yeah,
guess.
what you heard. Yeah, yeah. It is it is really it's referred to as an interjection in the sense that it's not declinable or anything. It's just the sound you make for it.
What
Uh,
to be contrasted
On
with, say, like foo, F-U.
yeah, well, actually, foo is an interjection as well.
it
Um,
was
But it's
it's called onomatopoeia.
to a certain extent, yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Tux
No, I
tux
mean,
could be. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, quia pius est from lux aeterna, right, Ariana? So, let's see. So let's get back. So, I think we already did those. So what's left? Oh, we have 15 minutes. Tell you what, now we're going to save the exercise for later. We'll stop here. Next time we will do the exercises, and I have a supplementary story to read. I think we should be able to get through both of those. Um, when I say supplementary story, we did that for chapter 2, if you remember. Um, they are some more details behind what's going on. And I'll just leave it at that.
are you going to post that story or what?
I will put the story up in the chart. Well, actually, okay, we're not going to put it in the charts. I will post the story up like this, and we will go through it together. Frequently, well, if there's paragraphs, I'll assign somebody to read the paragraph. A lot of them also have dialogue like this. So,
Well, no, what I'm saying is, are you going to post it in advance so we can read it in advance or what?
um, I don't normally.
Okay, I was just asking.
And the reason is, well, I have my reasons in that I want to present. I mean, we've been sort of staring at this chapter 3 now, and we did it with chapter 2 and chapter 1 for quite some time. And I want to bring up some fresh text that is that you can deal with right then and there as part of the exercise. Um, I don't think I normally send it out though either. I mean, afterwards. Um, but yeah, there's some interesting side information that goes on in those stories. So,
Well, is there something that you want us to do to prepare for it?
oh, sorry. I'm going to send out the exercises. Excuse me. I didn't state that.
Okay.
Yeah, I will send out the exercises If you remember, pensum C, or I should say pensum che, is answers to questions. Pensum be is fill in the blank, as in words. And then pensum a is, in fact, here, give me just a second and I'll bring one up. Okay, give me just a second here. Let's see. We had this. Let's see here. Come on. Yeah.
Sir Marcus William Tulsa.
Yeah, here is the first one. Yeah.
What?
So, oh, you can't see that, can you? I have to share it. Oh, man. Okay, hold on. Let me do that. Share. Here it is. Share. There. Oh, okay. I don't know why it always. Okay. So here was, this was chapter 1. So the question was, ubi est Roma? And I'll solicit answers, Roma in Italia est, or just in Italia est. So usually there's a couple of different answers. And then B, oh, okay. We lost all the underlines. Okay. There'll be a little blank and you need to fill it in. I guess the underlines didn't come up very well. Oh, well. And then pensum A will have the fill in the letter to get it to match the correct grammar. Yeah, okay, like Rhenos Danuvius non fluvii parvi, sed fluvii. Oh, okay, yeah. I must have overwritten. Hold on, let me see something for just a second. Did I blow away all those wonderful little okay, where'd it go? Did I ruin it? Hold on. Nope. Okay. I guess it just didn't come out. Hold on just a second. I thought I had fixed that.
That's
Let me look at chapter 2. No, that's not what I want. Pensa. Oh, I see what I did. Yeah, here we go. This is a better example of what I'll be sending you. There. Okay. This is from chapter 2. So the first one are answer the questions. The second one is fill in the word. And then the third one is fill in the letter. And we did those in class. And give me just a second and I will get the, I think this is the one. Oh yeah, this is the one we did. Let's see where to go. Yeah, here it is. This is the one we did for chapter 2. Various people volunteered various answers. And here we go. Yeah, I knew the underlines were in there. So those are the underlines, and then the fill in. Whoops. Oh, and then the fill in the blank letters. And we did have the colloquium where we had a Labanus, a Delia, and I don't remember. This was the two. Well, Delia is the Ancilla, handmaiden, and Labanus is the servus. And then we also had Liberi et Libri. That was with Cornelius and Amelia. So we'll have those. But I'm not going to send those out. You get to kind of do those in real time. So, but I will send you the the exercises. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So let me do this. Whoops. Oh, go away. Okay. All right. It won't let me share all of a sudden. Oh, there it is. There we go. Okay. So for next time, I will send you the exercises. And those are the ones that are at the end of the chapter. So let me,
Prehensum.
yeah, let's see where, yeah, here it is. Whoops, did I get the wrong one? There we go. Yeah, here it is. So if you go all the way to the end, there they are.
No.
I copy them over because it's well, one, we can do them in class, and two, puella, that would be cantat la la, puella leta, no, puella, oh, puella que cantat est Julia. So you're going to get hit with a relative pronoun right there. And we will go through C, we will go through B for sure. I'll think about whether we go through A or not. I'll send out the answers and you can correct it. But if we go through it quickly enough, then we'll go through those in class. But that's what I want you to do for next time is absorb chapter 3 and then do the exercises, and then we'll get the colloquia and the fabula. Make sense?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, please post the recording too, because I missed the first 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, this will.
Because my speaker just malfunctioned. I have no idea why. I could hear the music in the beginning and then it just went out.
Okay, curious.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I need a new speaker.
Or a
Or
piece
the
of
Bluetooth
software,
interfered with it or something. But
yeah,
I had it I had it wired up.
or the software barfed.
Yeah.
That's been known to happen.
Yeah, it could be.
Yes, I will certainly do that. And usually it takes me a day or two to get it out. But hopefully it'll be out no later
Yeah.
than Sunday.
Yeah, it's no hurry.
So, and again, if you get a chance, reread chapter 3, and by all means, listen to the recordings, because the Italian speaker does a generally very good job of using the Italian pronunciation. A few places I would quibble with him on, but I think he's better than the ones we used last year. So, all right, any questions? Any last minute questions? Any not so last minute questions? All right. Then let's see. Yeah, I got the right one that I'm sharing. See here. Hold on. I need to retrieve something. Okay, where did it all go? There it is. All right, let's mute everybody. And Precatio finalis, Signum Crucis et Ave Maria. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum. Benedicta tu in mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus. Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Amen. And so with that, the official part of the class is over. I will stay for a